Prepping, priming, color scheme planning. We're going to cover these highlights today. All right, this is it. This is the biggest miniature I've ever painted, and I'm hyped to take you along for the full journey. On this series, we will be painting the Storm Giant. I'm going to show you my process from start to finish and then the epic reveal. So let's kick off part one. Step one, prepping. This Storm Giant is by Nulzers from D&D Marvelous Miniatures. Okay, prepping. Step one is prepping. I'm going to prep this mini for primer. So what I do when I first start prepping, I'll start looking for like imperfections in the mini. So what I'm talking about, I've noticed on his hip, so when they mold it, it's where two pieces come together and it'll be like raised up a little bit. I want to smooth that down. And sometimes when they mold, there's connections that go down to the plate because it sits like this, or actually it's upside down or what have you. And there's connections so it doesn't droop. So when they take those off, it leaves a little plastic piece poking up. So what you want to do is look at it and look for those imperfections. So I found one here. Let me see. So it's kind of hard to see, but right here along this, it's raised up a little bit. So what I can do, I could try and get some still photos of that sticking up. So what I'm gonna do, you want to take an X-Acto knife and just barely scrape that. Just barely scrape it off. I would do it now, but I want to take some photos so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So that's one step, just barely scraping the top. Another step is sanding. I use these sand blocks. So they're different grits on each side. This is for more like a bigger surface. And here's another one that I use. It's it's actually like a file for your nails. That's all that is. I use those on the bigger surfaces where I can get to them. And then in those little tight areas, I ordered some little files. I don't know if you can see that very well, but yeah, I ordered some little files. And here's another little pack I have. Just a little files. I use those to get into like tight areas where you can't get those big objects in there. You just want to make sure you do not scuff it up too much. If you scuff it up too much, then when you primer it and paint it, you're going to see like the scratch marks. You don't want that. Smoother the better. So another thing, what I do when I'm prepping, so you'll notice there's some of these clear parts. This is his lightning. And then he's got it here too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mask that off because this one I'm going to use my airbrush to primer this one because it's a finer primer. It puts the primer on finer spray basically. So I'm going to be doing that. So I'm going to mask those off so when I spray it, I don't have to like clean that up and then I don't have it all over it. But that is my steps of prepping. Like I mentioned, I will put some videos or some photos in there of that piece I'm talking about. So all you want to do is just basically look around, look for imperfections from the casting, the molding part that you just want to scrape down and clear those out. On this one, I'm not seeing any cracks. Sometimes there's cracks in them. I'm not seeing anything that bothers me because they're so fine that the primer is going to actually fill that. So I'm not too worried about that. These miniatures made from Nulzers, from D&D, they're pretty good. I have no issues. I haven't seen like big issues yet from the ones that I've bought. I will mention that I painted this little one before. Let me zoom out. And I've noticed that the little ones have more imperfections than the big ones. I mean, that's my experience. So yeah, those are my steps for prepping. So I'm going to go ahead and get this prepped and ready for primed. And we'll go to step 2. Okay, step 2, priming. So I got the figure all masked up. I got him masked up with saran wrap, believe it or not. So yeah, I got him all masked up. As you can see, I got all the lightning bolt that goes through his legs masked up. So I'm getting ready to prime him. And so what I'm going to use my airbrush, and I'm going to prime him a black primer, which I am using Vallejo. Let's see. Vallejo black primer. I'm using that. I'll do one solid coat of that on him, and then I'll look at him just to make sure that I've covered him really well. And then after that, once that dries, I'll let that dry. And as soon as that's done drying, I'm going to spray a white. So let's say which way the sun is hitting him, you know. So let's say the sun's here. So I'm going to spray white on this side. So when I do paint him, I know where my highlights are going to be and where my shadows are going to be. So I haven't determined. So he's looking this way. So maybe I was thinking maybe, yeah, I could shoot it this way, or I could shoot it any direction I want. Any direction you really want to go. That way it kind of, like I said, like I mentioned, it shows you where your darks are going to be and your highlights, where you're going to want your brightest colors to be, or where the shadows are really going to be. But yeah, I'll get started on priming this and okay, we got him primed, he's dry, and he's ready for the white, for his highlight. So this is what we got now. Get him over here. He's all dried up. I'm really liking this primer. It dries really fast. So on my primer, I went 50-50, and 50 of the primer and then 50 of the water, and it sprayed really nice. So now I'm going to use the white. Also, I use 50-50, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, step 3, color scheme. All right, now the model's primed. It's time to talk about color. What colors do we want? What do we see? You know, what do we see this guy to look like? I want the Storm Giant to feel ancient, powerful, like a force to be dealt with. You know what I mean? Like you're walking in a forest and you come out to a clearing and you see this monster of a guy, just standing there. What do you see? I'm thinking maybe some blues, maybe royal colors like red, um, purples, and the armor maybe like silver, maybe some gold, maybe bronze, something that stands out, because he's like this powerful. I don't know. He's not a creature, but this powerful being standing there. Um, I'm also thinking in some maybe like lightning, lightning effects. We'll see how brave I get when we get there. But let's see. The big thing right now is painting a mini this size. I want to have a plan because a mini this size, you could get in trouble later on. You might run out of like ideas at that point, or come to a point where you're like, oh, I got these colors. Does this color, I want to paint this color on there, but does this color go with these colors? But the biggest thing of painting something like this, what do you want? That's like what I was saying at the beginning of this. What do you see him to look like? You know what I mean? Use your imagination. Like I said, you walk in and you see this guy standing there. What do you see? Um, so yeah, I mean that's the color scheme. That's kind of what I think of when I'm coming up with the color scheme. I sit there and I think, okay, what do I want him to look like? What do I want him to represent, the color wise or what have you? That's kind of what I do, and then I'll just basically sit here. Let me grab my paints. I'll grab some of these paints here. So you're thinking of this giant storm giant. Here's Underdark Indigo. I don't know if I can get it to zoom in, but yeah, that's a cool blue. That could be used. I just kind of like go through my colors, see what I got. I mean, you can always mix colors if you're familiar with mixing colors. Here's a ethereal blue. I mean, it's a little lighter than the other blue I just showed you. So, set that over here to the side. And then I'll grab my colors and I'll set them there and I'll just kind of look at them. I could use that color here. Or you could go a total different way, get the color wheel and go off the color wheel. That way colors match. You could go that route. Let's see, what else I got here? We got here's some grays. Maybe you could do is skin tone gray. Who knows what you see in your mind? Just kind of run with whatever. Here's a cool purple. No, actually, that's a cobalt red. It almost looks purple. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe move it back. It looks brown, but on the camera. But here it's like a dark purple. Kind of throw that over there. Yeah, you just kind of want to go through. You just kind of set out. What I do, I set out my colors, and I just kind of look at them. Yeah, those would be kind of cool. They mix, and sometimes when I'm painting it on, I'll look at it. When I'm doing like a base coat or something, I'll look at it and be like, oh, maybe not. But you just gotta. It's trial and error, and so yeah, that's kind of how I'll pick my color schemes for each characters. Okay, folks, there you have it. That's part one. So we got our prep work done. We got our primers down. and we got our color scheme underway. So in part 2, we'll start laying base coat down, and we'll start bringing the Storm Giant to life. So if you want to see how that goes, like and comment and stick around. And I'll see you in the next one.